Hey there guys, it is official that 9 WWE superstars have been released. Let's talk about it. On this list, we have seen Dolph Ziggler, Mustafa Ali, Emma, Rick Boogs, Aaliyah, Elias, Riddick Moss, Top Dollar, and Shelton Benjamin. Alright, we're going to start off with the most surprising one I did not expect. If you watch my release predictions, he was the only one on this list that did not... Oh no, him and Mustafa Ali. They were the only two on my predictions that are not on this list. Obviously, I had other people that I predicted that aren't yet known to be released, but I'm guessing we're going to see some more releases coming soon. But Dolph Ziggler, this is super surprising. He's been in the company for a long time now. Hasn't really been utilized recently, so I'm guessing that's why. I guess they're kind of just moving on from him. And I think it's also because they're trying to cut budgets and stuff like that. And I'm sure he's getting a pretty penny just because of how long he's been in the company. And considering that he's a former world champion, he's a Money in the Bank. He's won the Money in the Bank. I don't know how I feel about this though, because he is so good at putting somebody else over. If somebody new is coming into this company, he puts them over. He sells like crazy. He'll literally sell for anybody and everybody amazingly. And so yeah, I don't know if I feel that they needed to release him, but he was released. Next up, Mustafa Ali. I did not expect this one for one reason. A few months ago, I would have said, yeah, he's definitely going to be released, and I'm a big Mustafa Ali fan, but since he's been utilized in NXT recently, I figured they would want to keep him on their NXT since they're trying to kind of boost that roster up right now, get some more views onto NXT by putting some main roster guys on there, but unfortunately now he is released and will not be on NXT. He was literally just on NXT television yesterday. But yep, he is now released. I believe he's going to go to AEW. I mean, he'll do good wherever he goes. He is a very talented individual. Next up, we got Emma. I was highly expecting this. She hasn't done anything solely. Whenever she is on screen, she's coming out with Riddick Moss, which I'm a big fan of Riddick Moss. But he's not been doing nothing, and she's his manager, so she definitely doesn't need to be on the roster. I don't know how much she's getting paid. I don't think it's really too much, but I mean, I don't know. But yep, I definitely was expecting this one. Next up, I got Rick Boogs. I was highly expecting this one as well. I mean, hasn't really done much recently. Personally, I never enjoyed really anything he did. I did not enjoy his in-ring work. Character wasn't really for me. He was kind of like a rip-off Elias. And I personally don't think he was as good as Elias. And I highly expected this one, just considering he hasn't been utilized recently. I think we saw him maybe 2 weeks ago on Raw, maybe. But that's about it. We haven't seen him at all since then. Next up, we got Aaliyah. I have no idea where she's been. She's been on the main roster for a while now, but ever since she came on the main roster, at least in a very long time, she hasn't been nowhere to be seen. She hasn't had anything. She's not been talked about. I mean, I have no idea. She's like Tegan Nox, which I see Tegan Nox being released soon. She's not on this list, but I do think she'll be one of the next ones. But that's just kind of how it works. If you're not being utilized, if you haven't been on TV in months, then just no reason to be paying somebody that's not going to be used. Next up, we got Elias. Personally, I enjoyed some of his work. He was such a hateable character, and that's what being a heel is. When he did the Walk with Elias thing, I mean, I was super entertained with it. Playing the guitar and yelling, "Who wants to walk with Elias?" And the crowd would be into it. The crowd would be really into it. Even though if you look at his resume, he doesn't have that many accomplishments, I enjoyed some of his work. But at the same time, I expected him to be released. He hasn't been used recently. I mean, he had to act like he was his own brother or something. That was not a good gimmick at all. But before that, a few years ago, some of his work was great. Next up is one I hate to see go because I believe he had so much potential. This is Riddick Moss, personally known as Madcap Moss. I mean, they changed his name to Riddick Moss and still didn't use him. That was so stupid. But I believe he had potential, just wasn't properly utilized. He was being utilized there for a little bit, mostly just known for his feud that he had with Baron Corbin. That was a pretty cool feud, in my opinion. There was a lot of comedy in that whole thing. So, I mean, it was funny. But, I mean, he kind of just would win one week and then lose the next week. And then he kind of got destroyed by Gunther and went off and changed his name. but I definitely hate to see Riddick Moss go. As he says in his tweet that saying he was leaving, he was saying, basically just saying, other companies, you better make room. I believe he'll do great. I'd kind of see him doing something in NWA Power. He kind of seems like he would do something there. Whenever I saw him get released, I was thinking about Chris Masters. I'm thinking maybe he might go against Chris Masters over there in NWA Power. I believe Chris Masters is still in NWA Power. Next up, we got Top Dollar. Come on, we all expected this. Everybody's thinking all of Hit Row, as I said in my release predictions. I thought all of Hit Row is going to go, but so far he's the only one said is Top Dollar. Obviously, the worst of all of them, Flop Dollar. I think Ashante is also going to get released, but my dad also said something about B-Fab. What he said was, and I believe it's a great idea, now that Jade Cargill is officially in WWE, or at least according to my knowledge, she is in WWE. Jade Cargill is in WWE. She seems like a Jade Cargill kind of girl. She would go great with Jade Cargill. She could be kind of like the manager. And the reason why I say this is because of how Layla Gray was to Jade Cargill there for a little bit in AEW. I think that would be something cool for B-Fab to do, because she's not going to be able to do anything solo by herself. And I believe she would do great as that role as the manager to Jade Cargill. But yeah, Top Dollar's out of here. Don't really care. Was not impressive in the ring. Really, that whole entire faction was never impressive. Next up, the last one is super sad to see him go. This is Shelton Benjamin. He has so much great work. He did a lot of stuff in the early 2000s that I enjoyed, like his crazy TLC matches and crazy spots he would have in those matches. But recently, my favorite thing that he has done has been the Hurt Business. That's one of my favorite kind of things overall. I love the Hurt Business, obviously. I'm super biased because I love Cedric Alexander, and I hate to say he might be next to be released, but we're not going to talk about that. I don't want to talk about that. But yes, unfortunately, he is gone. I'm pretty sure he's probably being paid a nice amount. Hasn't been used recently, so I did see it coming. But so far, this is all the releases that I have seen today. I will definitely let you guys know if I see any more releases.